All right, we still have a few more weeks of winter. Hate to break it to you, but we're already seeing some wildly warm temperatures sweeping across the country. Data from nonprofit Climate Central now shows that over the past few decades, temperatures in spring have been rising steadily, bringing with it a host of other challenges. It's part of a broader pattern of global warming driven by pollution from burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and methane. CBS News national correspondent Dave Malkoff is at the Atlanta Botanical Gardens. Looks beautiful. Looks like spring is already in bloom there, Dave. How have spring temperatures and weather patterns sort of changed across the country?
Well, Chanel, you see the orchids are blooming here. This is the noble orchid right here. There are 80 million different, these have actually been evolving for 80 million years. So think of all the ice ages and eons that these orchids and varieties have gone through. So if you look at what's happening right now, we're in a very short period of time where in the last 55 years, you have spring temperatures that have gone up an average of about 2.4 degrees Fahrenheit. And since in the last 55 years, but if you look at the Southwest, then we've got an area that's way hotter than the rest of the country, and that area is up about 6.8 degrees Fahrenheit. And we also have these longer strings of warmer days. If you've looked since the 70s, in most states in the U.S., you see more than about 7 days of these hotter spring days that are longer spring days, and we got really, really hot days throughout the spring. But in the Southwest, there are, sometimes 39 of these hotter days. So those strings of hot days really stretch out in the Southwest.
Interesting. Okay, how is the warming spring season impacting agriculture across the country?
Well, that means that the growing seasons will be longer. And you think, hey, is that a good thing? Well, the plants want to grow where they want to grow and in the seasons they want to grow. So you could see the shifting planting seasons and shifting planting zones as well. And you could see some crops won't be growing like they used to and won't be growing where they used to. So you could see this kind of shifting happening around the U.S. There's also a change in snowmelt, especially in the Rockies out west, where that impacts water supplies in the west, and that can reduce the availability of water for irrigation later on in the year when you're talking about the Central Valley of California or all those areas right under the Colorado River that are irrigated by that snowmelt that comes from the Rockies up there.
And Dave, speaking of California, how are these warming temperatures also contributing to environmental risks like wildfires?
Well, there are things that wildfires need, and those things are being increased by these hotter temperatures, especially out west, that you are seeing because of these spring days that seem to be a lot hotter than they used to be in the 70s. It needs high heat, it needs low humidity, it needs strong winds, and it also needs fuel, and that could be the little leafy areas. And if you get that high heat, low humidity, the high winds coming through and burning these things to a crispy edge, that will make it very easy for a wildfire to start. Those crispy edges are where fires start because of all those temperature changes.
Okay, really good to know, Dave. Thanks for putting that into perspective for us. Appreciate it.
Sure.